Welcome back to the RevRoom podcast. While most B2B marketers are chasing the latest digital trends and pouring budget into saturated channels, the smartest, revenue-focused marketers are doubling down on what actually moves the needle. At Inverta, we believe in clear strategy executed brilliantly, and that means using every tool that drives measurable results, not just the shiny new ones. In today's conversation, we continue our series on underutilized channels in B2B marketing and focus on direct mail. But this isn't your grandfather's spray and pray direct mail strategy. We're talking about integrated signal-based campaigns that work alongside your digital efforts to create genuine buyer engagement. I'm joined by Julie Wiethop from Ocrolus, who's proving that you don't need massive budgets to drive serious pipeline impact. She's built a direct mail program that's become so essential to the revenue engine, they literally can't afford not to do it. Julie's going to walk us through exactly how she's integrating physical touchpoints into modern B2B campaigns and why this strategy is becoming non-negotiable for smart marketers who are serious about revenue growth. Let's get into it. Well, welcome back, everybody, to the RevRoom. We are continuing our series on underutilized channels in B2B marketing. Today, we're going to talk about one that I don't know if it's necessarily what we consider underutilized. I think it's being forgotten about and discarded to the side, especially in the age of COVID and everybody going to work from home. But our guest today is going to talk to us a little bit about how they've leveraged direct mail and gifting in their campaigns to really accelerate and build even more success in what they're doing. So I want to welcome Julie Wiethop to the call from Ocrolus. She's the Director of Growth Marketing there. I'll let her introduce herself in a minute. But welcome, Julie, to the podcast today.
Hey, Rachel. Thanks. I'm excited to be here today.
Awesome.
So I can just share a little bit about myself?
Yeah, jump right in. I love it.
Okay. I'm Julie Wiethop. Great job pronouncing my last name. I know that's a tongue twister. As Rachel mentioned, I lead the growth marketing team here at Ocrolus. Cut my teeth in growth hacking, gosh, seems like forever ago, with B2B organizations. And that was after I worked on the agency side. So I've got kind of a flair for both sides of the marketing world. I'm obsessed with turning like metric-driven logic campaigns into momentum. Like in the last few years, I'd helped grow Ocrolus's ARR by 50% year over year, which is that's a pretty big feat, but also, our budget decreased every year by 25%. So huge, moving away from growth at all costs to very, very efficient growth. So today I manage a very nimble AI first growth team where we're blending ABM and direct mail, content design, lifecycle marketing, and a lot more. Off the clock, a little bit about me. I'm a certified coffee snob, so I'm excited to share my coffee mug today. I'm also a personal chauffeur to my kids, like very good at that.
Yes.
I can't have any conversation with an audience without sharing that I'm a dedicated hockey and gymnastics mom. So yes, usually my weekends are filled.
Solid commitment there. Yes.
Yeah. No one told me about it. I signed them up and then lastly, I love to travel. So I'm a self-proclaimed travel enthusiast.
Love it. Well, thanks for that, Julie. I was just telling somebody earlier today, I am now in the first summer of both of my children having cars and driving themselves everywhere. So I am no longer a chauffeur anywhere. It's pretty amazing. In the summer months, it's even more liberating. So it's coming, I promise. Someday it will happen.
Nice.
You just worry about other things now. So. Well, thank you. And yes, let's jump into our coffee mugs. One of the reasons that our icebreaker here at the RevRoom is asking our guests to bring their favorite coffee mugs and tell great stories, because they have great stories behind them, but also because I too love my coffee. I always say this is artificially induced. None of this happens without caffeine. So so I'll briefly share mine and then I'll toss it over to you, Julie. I think I brought a new one today. So I have one from Wall Drug, South Dakota. We made a trip up there a couple summers ago in an RV and stopped up there and did some camping overlooking a ridge just up the street from Wall Drug. But you have to make that stop if you go through there. So that's where my mug is from today. So Julie, how about you? What'd you bring?
Mine is a little bit more mature. A lot smaller, not more mature than yours. Miniature. So I just have this coffee mug. So my family and I went to Hawaii earlier this summer, and this is the only souvenir that I brought home. Like of everything
Oh,
we did there, this is the only thing I brought home was a $20 Starbucks Hawaii mug. But I love coffee, and Hawaii was amazing. If you've never been there before, it's definitely one of those bucket list items. And
yes.
yeah, it's great. Use it every day now.
We're going to get to the content, I promise, audience, soon here. So don't hit that 15-second fast forward. But I did too. I think I shared in an episode maybe last year. My Maui mug from Starbucks too. I love the Starbucks collector mugs here on the podcast. We've had several of them. So thanks for bringing that, Julie. All right, let's dive into direct mail and gifting. And let's start with like what sort of got you into using direct mail in your campaigns, and like how did you first consider that, and what did that look like?
Yeah. So direct mail was always infused into our campaigns, but it was really more a growth marketing objective. It wasn't a revenue objective. And so the moment that we met with some of our finance leaders, we met with our CRO and said, hey, we really want to double down on this channel. Like we're seeing success across the board on just like a growth centric model. If we made it compulsory with the entire revenue organization, we knew that we'd be able to create some magic.
Right.
So that's really where we start to double down and put some fuel and put some additional investment into it, was introducing it to the rev team, making it compulsory, having influence from the top down. I can't say that enough. And then making sure that there's strong alignment between finance leaders and the marketing team to ensure that they understand exactly what the program is and in our investment and our uptick in that. So that's where we started. Where we are today has been such a humbling journey, seeing that for every dollar we're investing, we're seeing late stage, pipeline, we're seeing close one deal, and we're doing it at a clip that's higher than every other channel that we have out there.
Mm, that's great. That's great. Well, that makes that budget conversation with leadership a little bit easier when you're showing some good ROI. But what happened before you were able to show that ROI? Like when you're trying to get that investment and convince leadership, like this is a channel we need to invest in, or at least try.
Yeah. So I actually inherited our DM campaign, which was we would send something out from our inventory of branded goods, and we really found out that that's great, but there's so much more out there. You want to do something that's personalized, that's customized. And that's where Sendoso came in. So as we pivoted over from like our first step was the wider growth team was using it strategically within campaigns for air cover. And then we introduced it to our SDR team first, who could do more bespoke one-on-one messaging. But I cannot stress this enough. Like building rapport with your finance leaders makes all the investment conversations 10 times, probably like 20
Yeah.
times easier. So because we had spent the time to build a rapport, asking for $15,000 to stand up a quick rev test where you can say, hey, this is actually could come out of the sales budget, or the approach for this is X or Y or Z. And we put the goal, not necessarily at pipeline, but more importantly, the late stage pipeline. So when you can connect revenue into any play, you can pretty much sell it over to your finance team. Good news is that we had a couple of quick wins where we already had some quick results. So it's very clear from the beginning for us that a strategic, personalized, customized direct mail campaign led to higher ACV. We're closing deals faster. Like it was only goodness from the start.
That makes that conversation around we can't afford direct mail to more of a we can't afford not to do direct mail campaigns, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I'd rather invest in 15,000 direct mail campaign and see immediate lift, see the engagement, see the traction to our website, see the pipeline, start to kind of fill. So see people move through that pipeline into revenue, then invest the same into, let's say, one sponsorship at an event where your touch point is very, very quick. In order to have ROI from that event, you need to invest, adjacently into that. That's where direct mail is starting to complement and get fully integrated across our entire marketing program.
Yeah, that's great. Well, let's talk a little bit about, you said, hey, it's not just about sending like branded, items or things like that. Let's talk a little bit about some of the examples of campaigns that you have run that you've seen a lot of success around. And I know you've got some like a fintech campaign that you've run that we talked about a little bit, but tell the audience a little bit about some of the things that you have done that you've seen success and where you've really doubled down on.
Yeah. So we are running what we call our fintech campaign, and it's really a two-prong approach. So what we want to do is reach the right people at the right time with precisely the right messaging. And in order
Yeah.
to do that, you have to put some sort of carrot out there. So the first approach is more to like high intent in market accounts and individuals, and we measure that through our ABM platform. We use 6sense. We push those audiences out of 6sense into the various pieces of our MarTech stack. And within that, we will, our audience, the fintech audience and the buyers within the fintech companies that we're selling to and the mortgage tech companies that we're selling to, they like the finer things in life, right? Like that's the way that I put. They're very tech forward, and you can't send them a $10, gift card. You have to send something that will pique their interest. So we send things like, we build ABM programs, and a part of that is like a Yeti cooler. It's like the big $300 Yeti cooler that you typically, don't have that. You have the large one, the small one, and
Yep.
then things like really nice Yeti tumblers. Like I swear this is not an endorsement for Yeti, but our audience loves Yeti. I mean, we actually have custom color Yeti mug for one of our events, and every year we bring a different color, and it gets so much traction.
That's cool.
But like some of like the Apple AirPods that you're seeing all over the place, we actually do like the more expensive version. We do the Beats, we do the Theragun. So we put together some like really cool, I'd say higher value items to pull them in. But we're doing this to the decision makers within these fintech companies. And
Mhm.
because our ACV is not small, right? Like we're not under $5,000 where it's hard to really, stand up a program where you're giving a $300, $400, $500 gift. We're finding that these are really great carrots to draw people in. But I say that with a caveat, they're very high intent accounts. Like there was a trust radius thing the other day that I saw that, most B2B buyers are shortlisting 1 to 5 different vendors. And before they
Yeah.
even reach out to you, like
Sure.
something like 80% of them have already made their decision who they want to buy from. They're
Yep.
kind of just dating you, during the evaluation process. So we want to get to them right when they're shortlisting Ocrolus. Like right there is our Goldilocks zone. And we're doing a really good job of doing that. So with the fintech audience, kind of surprising and delighting, very warm prospects. The other
Yeah.
side of it, so the two-prong approach is we've cultivated and assembled what we call Acro swag. So we put Acro in front of everything because we're Ocrolus. And we put together the Acro swag bundle that's really geared for this audience. Again, it's gonna have like um golf swag. Like we're not chintzy when it comes to the golf balls. We're gonna do their gosh, what is it? Like the title of Pro
Like the Pro
V1.
V1s.
Yeah,
Yeah. Mhm.
the Pro V1, the really nice JBL speaker that's going to clip on a golf bag. Again, the Yeti tumbler. So we're putting together something that we know will be appreciating you. The last thing you want to do is just be a swag cannon and just shove everything out there, do something generic. We try to make it memorable. So every
Yeah.
single customer that signs with us is getting an Acro swag box, and it's very bespoke to our particular audience. We find that number one, it's going to increase brand loyalty. It's going to help with upsells and cross sells. But more importantly, the surprise and delight factor. You get this in the mail. You weren't expecting it. You get to open up the package from Ocrolus, and it's this amazing thing. Like that is the power of direct mail that no other marketing channel comes even close to.
Mhm. That's great. Good examples. You talked a little bit about, curating based on your personas and, how you're doing that. Um, are you doing anything differently between, maybe a male and female audience or, just the various personas you might have in your mix, besides, so that fintech audience that you're just talking about?
Yeah, of course. I mean, Rachel, one of the biggest things that we tell our team is personalization and customization trumps anything that you're sending. So
Yeah.
making sure that you're taking the time to understand who is the recipient, what do they like, what's their like alma mater, or have they shared something about a dog? Like it's so simple, but that goes so far. We hear a dog barking. Hey, they likely have a dog. Maybe we want to talk about the dog on the disco call. Now I'm going to follow up the disco call with something to surprise and delight them, like, a gift card to Chewy, or if they mention their dog's name, something with their dog's name on it. That goes so
Yeah.
far. And when it comes to like different demographics, right? Like our Ocrolus box, we'll swap out certain things for a female key decision maker. And I mean, you just get that immediate, this was made for me. This was bespoke for me. And that just amps up the surprise and delight factor.
Yeah. I love that you do that from a personal perspective, but you're still able to do that at scale. Talk a little bit about how you're doing that. Like, how are you able to say, to do that at scale versus, having to do really, really one-off type things, which I'm sure you're still doing. Like you mentioned the Chewy things and stuff like that. But how do you scale some of that?
Yeah, I will say that we have some amazing Rev super users within the team, and we work
Mm.
with them. So our play, so that we can scale it properly and we can get the widest adoption, which again, we see the down funnel results. So the more that we utilize direct mail, the more revenue we're going to generate. Is we have an automated report every Monday morning that says this is what we sent. Here's who sent it. Here's who it went to. And there's so much commonality between the personalized sends and the group sends. So in order to scale this up properly, you have to know a little bit about who you're sending to. So it takes the time to it's very difficult to have a high empathy task, which means it takes a ton of human intervention in something like this and automate it fully. So for us, it's like being able to pull information out of our gong calls, which is being populated or, put directly into our Salesforce, and just knowing a little bit more about the individual. So you can scale, at mass, which is kind of what the marketing team does for air cover. We're really, really good at that because our audiences, we play in, we just had a press release last week. We verticalized our business units. We're going specifically into mortgage tech. We're specifically going into SMB and consumer. And so within that, our audiences are very alike and who is the persona we're reaching. So marketing can do it at scale, with air cover. And then we trust that our super users and everyone across the Rev team is doing the very, very bespoke things. Like one of the best things is the alma mater sends. I went to Mizzou, someone mentions Mizzou in a subject line. I will respond to that email, even if it's not interested today, but a no is better than nothing. And, so we're always trying to infuse the alma maters into our campaigns. And that's really how you can do it at scale.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's good too, because to your point, even doing that, your audience a little bit better, your personas that they're working through. As your team is doing sort of monthly, quarterly planning, how are you deciding sort of what items to curate, what to send? And I know we talked a little bit about AI and you're using that as a tool to help you too. Can you talk a little bit about how you're incorporating AI into these decision-making processes?
Yeah. So we meet on a weekly basis. We have an ABM team, and then there's lots of different ad hoc meetings that are going on a monthly cadence. But we're always talking about what's working, what's not working, what to test, what to double down on, what should we iterate and optimize versus, hey, this testing out run really well. Let's go ahead and just kind of put it in a holding pattern so we can test something else. So for us, it's always scale it up, run it, iterate, and then go back and rinse and repeat. But what we have found is infusing new things into that test. So when it comes to AI, the sky's the limit. I was just talking to our COO last week, and I'm like, what if I could take Sendoso's marketplace, map it together with our Salesforce, our proprietary information, create swarms of agents so that when my AE has a phone call, it populates with 5 things that we could potentially send to that individual. And it's also giving kind of that pun, that kind of way to infuse it into the conversation. And then after the phone call, it ends, it's marked in Salesforce, it goes from Gong to Salesforce, and then Salesforce over to Sendoso to send one of those personalized things based on the contents of the conversation. And that play, you can't do that with humans. That's really difficult to scale up without AI and swarms of AI agents. So that's where we're trying to go. That's what we're thinking about. It's not just a chat GPT, give me like, how can I send this? Or what are 5 things I can send to this person?
Yeah.
Here's everything I know about them. Like kind of going in 10 layers deeper. We're just scratching the surface. Like my entire team is AI powered. Like every single day they're looking at new tools, thinking creatively, like how can we reach this audience, do it better, more efficiently than anyone else out there with the perceived outcome that, hey, if they're in our ICP, we definitely want to be able to capture as much revenue from them, knowing that what we offer is one of the easiest tools for the SMB world and the mortgage tech world.
Mhm. Yeah, that's great. I love that you're trying to think sort of outside the box. No pun intended. Direct mail box. Anyways, on the use of those other tools and using your first party data plus the conversational data and things like that that you're getting to curate even more targeted items and gifting for your sales team. So that's fantastic. You talked a little bit about the return that you're seeing, dollar in, and for your pipeline. Unpack those numbers a little bit for us, and then let's talk a little bit about what's starting to become a bit of a 4-letter word, I think, is attribution, and how you're really trying to talk through like the attribution of direct mail to the overall deal cycle, things like that.
Yeah, gosh. I'm going to steal that from you. Attribution definitely is a 4-letter word. It's been for a little bit. I mean, you go back to the HubSpot model that was introduced, which at the time was like the best thing since sliced bread. And it gave everyone a way, especially marketers, to justify investment.
Yeah.
And buyer journeys were completely different. Let's go back to like 2015. Gosh, it was completely different. I can't even remember what it looked like. To fast forward to now. And part of the reason that I joined Ocrolus was in conversations with lots of people on the revenue team, specifically our CRO. He said, hey, listen, this is a team sport. Like sales and marketing are on the same team. So we actually report on sales attribution and marketing attribution to our board, to our investors. But everyone knows that marketing is touching 100% and almost 100% of the deals. And,
Sure.
sales is touching 100% of the deals. And so whoever gets credit for that really doesn't matter. We want to be able to show all the relevant touch points. It doesn't matter who brings them first. We're first touch attribution, whether that's great, not great. There's no great attribution model. So we're just going to stick with what we set up in our CRM system and our MA tool. Having said that, so like 1,000 touch points are going to happen within a deal cycle. And that's just to get the customer to, and then you have the life cycle part where there's expansion and upsells and cross sells. And, what do we do if we think a customer is going to churn? So when we talk about, thousands now, probably up to 10,000 during, the 5-year journey of a particular customer, being able to say, oh, it was this event or it was this exact Yeti cup, never going to happen. So the linear kind of attribution that HubSpot started was great because it gave us foundation. And now we're looking at like marketing as influence. We have an OKR where marketing has to influence like 3/4 of our pipeline. And we see it like we're measuring everything. So the evolution now is, where is marketing influence? How often are we marketing? How often are we influencing it? Is it top? Is it middle? Is it bottom? Is it life cycle? Like where is that occurring? And direct mail can touch every single part of that journey. We found our Goldilocks, zone to be later stage pipeline. So touches to, accelerate the deal because things are more likely to fall apart at the end of a deal. And then after we sign a customer. So those two zones combined. And the other one is right at purchase and decision. So when they make that short list and we want to be shortlisted, they're problem aware, they're brand aware. We want to make sure we're number one. We want to make sure, I think it's like 70-ish% of deals are won by whoever is number one.
The preferred vendor. Yep.
Yeah. And so in order to be there, you have to stand out. You could have the best product out there, but someone can create a better experience with the product, with the brand, with the conversations, the in-person touches that people are craving right now. We've got to be able to execute on that. Direct mail is the easiest and by far the least expensive.
Yeah, that's great. Talk about the reaction from customers, because obviously I'm sure you're getting lots of reaction from customers, even those prospects. Like, what kind of feedback are you getting? Are you getting any surprising responses back?
So I would say every single response we've had has been goodness. There has not been one person that has disliked getting, something in the mail, or sometimes it's like a digital gift card. They are always happy. So we do actually, through Sendoso, we have a way that they can actually respond to us. And we see lots of appreciation across the board if we're just sending a Yeti tumbler or if it's this huge Acro swag. Usually when we send an Acro swag, they're like, hey, I have 4 more people in my department that would love it. We get that
Yeah.
out immediately. And we usually then send them something better. Meaning like we have a couple of really premium things that are set aside, and that's when we go ahead and use those. So going back to the question, like, what are we doing? There's so much more. This is the area of direct mail that kind of blurs the line between
Mm.
virality and a digital space and getting something in person. So I think a lot of people are aware of Sendoso's campaign when they acquired Postal. So they sent I always look for them on Sendoso to show other people. It's the pinatagrams. So it's a
Oh,
pinata that gets direct mail. There's some candy and there's some notes about the acquisition or whatever you want to announce. And how cool is that? Like, my daughter was and my son were fighting over who got to have the pinata. It's sitting over here in my office. So it's mine. I earned that. But just number one, getting that in the mail and then having everyone in your family excited about it. You want to post about it on Sendoso. I'm sorry, you want to post about it on LinkedIn. So my
yeah.
LinkedIn feed was like pinata, 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 Sendoso, 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 postal, postal, postal. And by, creating something that's memorable, you can create some virality behind it. Now you're
Yeah.
starting to see those blurred lines. It's not full cycle. It's actually much better because someone else is talking about your brand. Someone else is getting excited. And it actually helps with that social proof.
That's great. What are some other ways you're thinking about utilizing direct mail or are using it that we haven't talked about yet? So, incorporating it with other channels or some things you're thinking about in your roadmap for the remainder of the year for 2H or whatever. Talk a little bit about that.
So we've got a couple things going on in the second half, but most of where and those are strictly tests. Where we're trying to really double down on is utilizing the entire MarTech stack that we have, fully integrating it and looking at what are the various journey stages and how can we deliver more bespoke messaging, more bespoke gifts to each of those,
Mm.
buyers. So for us, it's just dialing in what we're already doing. I will say I would love to get some Ocrolus pinatagrams. I need to find a way to pun it with the word grow out to some of our KDM. So we've got some major, major announcements coming down the pipe. We just came off a record-breaking June. We're signing 2 mortgage customers every week. If anyone knows of any mortgage tech company out there that's signing more customers, please let me know because from what we understand, we're growing really, really fast in that vertical. We want to celebrate with our customers. Like we want to celebrate. And I think that we'll probably do some direct mail campaigns direct to our current customers, along with
Yeah.
some of these future announcements that we have coming out.
Yeah. That's cool. Um, so we have been on this series around underutilized channels. We agree direct mail probably is one of those. And some of the other ones we've talked about are like video, influencer marketing. And, so a lot of these are really about more personalized touch and sort of breaking down. Like we've almost like swung the pendulum too far in B2B marketing to this sort of digital world. It's sort of kind of cold and not real, like, it's just not like, you don't get me, kind of a thing. You just say the same thing to everybody. And I guess where I'm going is like, Julie, talk a little bit about, how you make sure you maintain that personal touch as you continue to grow in you are probably going to have more customers and more prospects to touch and try to influence as the company continues to grow. How do you maintain that sort of personal touch through direct mail?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question, Rachel. We're trying to solve for that now as we grow to 150 mortgage customers and then, hundreds of SMB customers. How can we maintain the level of personalization that we have today? AI is no doubt going to solve that for us. And I am very, very thankful that we are a Sendoso partner, because some of the stuff we're doing today with their beta programs is letting me kind of have the vision of what they're building and how I can build something parallel to that. So I I will say that when we try the spam cannons of Acro swag, and we've done that before, like everyone's guilty of it. It's a good test to run just to be like, okay, we shouldn't be doing this type of thing. And it's very inexpensive to do. But in general, like trying to scale things up, I do see AI being the main component. If it's listening
Mm.
in on calls through like Gong and being able to tell you what the most important thing is based on like adjacency. So if I like coffee, I probably like chocolate. Like there's people who like coffee like chocolate. Like you can send something about chocolate. So like kind of growing out a little bit. I would love to see more on-site visit within the B2B space. Like that is something that we kind of lost during COVID. The conferences are coming back, but it's not just the conferences, it's the conferences with something else bolted onto that. And how can you surprise and delight those people even more? Be 2 steps ahead. Have something mailed to their house while they're at the conference that's relevant to what you're discussing or what you're trying to pitch, or, if you're talking about X, Y, or Z, something that's adjacent to that. So that's where I see it going with the layer of AI. Like we are building AI, swarms of AI agents today to
Mm.
facilitate our explosive growth. Like we're growing 50% year over year. We're doing it with less budget. We're doing it with less headcount. And my expectation is that that's what's going to pave the way for personalization at scale when it comes specific to direct mail.
Yeah. Yeah. That's brilliant, Julie. I love that. Um, Operationally, how, you talked about your MarTech stack and, maybe I'm a marketing coordinator or manager listening to this and like I actually have to go implement things. Can you just unpack, just surface level, you don't have to give us super detail, but like talk a little bit how you're operationalizing that. You talked about your sixth sense and, connected to, some of the other pieces and your Sedoso. Um, can you just unpack that a little bit further down? Like how does that work?
I'm very fortunate to have a marketing ops team that manages that. But I will say, like, if you're just starting out and you're trying to integrate your systems, go over to ChatGPT. I don't care if you have paid version, enterprise version, and just start writing what you have and say, how can I
Yeah.
integrate this? I mean, Innate is a free tool, or it's a very low expensive, low code, no code tool that can help you integrate all this stuff. But so if you don't have a marketing ops team like I do, and a wickedly smart senior digital marketing manager who figures everything out, who's like a wizard, um, go and see what's available today. And you don't have to stand this up with Sendozo. Like the easiest way to prove it out, number one, is just go on Amazon, procure a bunch of stuff, have it shipped to your house, handwrite personalized letters to these people, put it in a FedEx package. I don't know why, but I've heard that FedEx just is like awesome when it comes to surprise and delighting direct mail. And send those out 10, 20, 30, 40. It doesn't have to be a massive budget, and just
Sure.
see what works, what doesn't work. Do it again, rinse and repeat. Try to find something that does work. And when you do land on that, it becomes really easy to see, okay, I need to integrate my outreach. My HubSpot has to get plugged in here. Like hire a freelancer to do it. There's plenty of them out there. Like the
Hmm.
20-year-old coder can figure it out in 2 seconds, or just ChatGPT or YouTube it. You can connect it
Yeah.
all together and just start bolting it on. It becomes very easy and seamless and very fluid once you start
Yeah.
doing that.
So you talked a little bit about, like maybe these little pilots, even if you do it out of your own office, even your home office if you need to. But like if I maybe work in a bigger enterprise and, I've got this big tech stack and big ops teams and like, there's some of those barriers. Like maybe I work in a larger company that sometimes make those harder, but I need to go secure some budget, to go do this thing. Hey, I really want to do a pilot with some direct mail. Like, how do you approach that conversation with leadership? I know you've done a great job because you've been able to show some ROI on some of those pilots, but like if I'm new to this thing or I really want to go try something, I have a campaign that would work perfect. How do I do that? What do I say?
Yeah, I think it all starts with your marketing leader and making sure that they're fully on board and aligned. And you can just talk about, stuff that you're seeing on your LinkedIn feed. You don't even have to
Mhm.
make the investment. There's justification out there. You can reach out to me. I'm more than an open book to share what we've done and share our results. But I can't stress this enough. Partner with your finance team. Like everything starts there.
Yeah.
After that, you need to frame direct mail as like a revenue investment. It is not a spend. It's not a budget line item. It is investment in your revenue. It is investment in your pipeline. So some people call it like pipeline protection, but generally make sure you can frame it as an investment and then be able to share some of that ROI that you've seen in a pilot or potentially others have seen. You can use this stat for every dollar we invest in our direct mail campaign, we generate $41 in ARR. And that's just
Mhm.
year one. So we're not investing this huge amount. I mean, we're investing more in other channels, but this is the one that is the most efficient. So
Yeah, that's great. Um, what kind of mistakes have you seen or marketers might make, or like lessons learned from your side of things, maybe some things to avoid?
yeah, I think there's two things. One is something that we've done. We didn't fully communicate across the board when we turned on different swag, direct mail campaigns or more bespoke direct mail campaigns. And so fell through the cracks. So what that meant for us is we had to make sure we were fully aligned communication with the rest of the revenue team, especially more top of funnel things that we're going to go through, like the journey stages of decision and purchase. So making sure you have alignment, number one, huge mistake that we made a couple times. And then number two, don't send generic swag. I mean,
Mm.
spend $5 more. I promise you the cost of postage plus the extra $5 is well worth sending that, $10 Chotsky or the dollar Chotsky that you would send to an event for swag.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great tip. Um, okay, so a final thought, Julie. How do you see direct mail and working, and why is it so essential in the way today's buyers buy in our marketing playbook?
Hmm. Okay, I wish I had a crystal ball. I'd probably be very wealthy if I did. But
Same.
in general, if you would asked me this 6 months ago, before we got really aggressive with our AI program, like we were still in phase one, right? Like swarms of agents were this futuristic thing. And now we're like entering phase two within the rep team. I would have told you, like, it always is going to create adjacent revenue for you. It's always going to create influence revenue for you. Like when you deploy a direct mail program, it is meant to surprise and delight. It is always
Mm,
going to help like kind of drive that. Like that's exactly what we're seeing. It's our trusted play. Like it works. And I can unpack, various reasons. What I can say, like today, with the rapid evolution of AI, we've thrown all of our playbooks out the window. The only one that
mhm.
we have kept has been related to direct mail
Oh,
because we see that is one of the last human touch channels besides in-person events, which are rapidly, they're transitioning from like, are you going to meet people on the conference floor? Are you going to meet them at the happy hour? Are you going to meet them at like a buyout of a restaurant adjacent to the conference? Like direct mail, it goes directly to that individual. They get to open it on their time when they're ready. They get to use it the way that they want to use it. So to me, it's kind of the playbook that has a little bit of empathy related to it. And when I say
yeah,
empathy, it means it requires a ton of human interaction to not only deploy it, but actually receive it and enjoy it.
yeah. That's great. Okay, one last question for you, Julie, and then we'll wrap up. Um, Tell me, and you might have to think about this. So, sorry for the surprise question. Tell me, what was your favorite gift that, or direct mail item that you've received, um, in the last couple of years or so, that sort of surprised and delighted you?
Oh, that's a good one. I very recently received a crossbody bag, like
Huh?
literally out of thin air. I was not expecting it. Someone's like, "Hey, I've got a bunch of swag. I want to send you like a new vendor." And they cultivated something I was very surprised with. We're not looking for a new vendor right now to help us, but the fact that they went to learn a little bit about me, they put a lot of time and effort into it. I was very, very impressed with the level of the way they approached it, the way that they sent it, the way they followed up. And it was like items that I wouldn't buy myself in general. And I think that's why I was like super, super impressed. Now, for me, it's the level of someone took the time to learn a little bit about me and put something together. And I hope that's how people feel when they receive our Ocrolus swag boxes.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Thank you for sharing that. Well, Julie, thank you for being on the podcast today. And I will include your LinkedIn link in the show notes. So if anybody wants to reach out, please do. Julie has invited you to do so. If you have any further questions for her or want to really get into the nitty gritty, I'm sure she can connect you to her team too, who does all of that great behind the scenes work to make sure everything's connected and curated. Also check out Sendoso. I'll put a link in for their website as well. They're a great partner of Inverta's here. We work with them very closely. So thank you, Julie, for your time today and sharing your experiences and your expertise in this area. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thanks for tuning in to the RevRoom today. We hope you enjoyed this episode. For more, be sure to subscribe and leave us a review. Don't forget to follow Inverta on LinkedIn for more updates and exclusive content. That's Inverta, INVERTA. Have a question or a topic you'd like us to cover? Reach out and let us know. Until next time, keep innovating and driving that revenue growth. See you next time.